Some may say this is probably the best thing to come out of Batman versus Superman. What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the G Show podcast. I am G1, and this is the Geek Out, episode 10. Complete Wonder Woman review. There's been a bunch of news. Well, not really a lot of news, but news that came out this week that I'm going to push for next week, because today we are just going to talk about Wonder Woman, the movie. So, heads up, y'all. If you haven't seen the movie yet, this is going to be a spoiler-filled review. And joining me on this epic quest and adventure, once again, C. Monty. What's up, Chris?
What's up? Ladies, today's all about you and how wondrous you are. Wonder Woman, full review.
Full review. Also joining me, my right hand, G95 Matt, my brother. What's up?
You guys got to really start letting me go first. And Chris can do all the fun stuff after me.
Well, listen, I'm sure you're gonna definitely get to have your fun, because I'm gonna let you talk first about Wonder Woman, because you were the first one to hit me, and I'm telling you, shut your mouth, don't you say nothing, and you're real clever when it comes to like fucking with my emotions, man, and that was a little fun little back and forth we had Thursday night. Now, listen, Wonder Woman drop. Let's get right down to it, okay? Wonder Woman drop. Y'all might remember me saying this quite some time ago. I have zero interest in this movie. And I didn't really have any interest in this movie. I was just like, everything I saw, marketing, up until, let's say, the final month, it didn't do nothing. It was boring me. I was like, whatever, I don't know. And then last month came and the marketing started to ramp up. And then I saw this clip on IGN and I was like, oh, shit. Wait a minute, time out, okay. And then I just stayed away from everything after that. So I'm not going to look at nothing else. I'm going to see this movie. God damn. Listen, holy shit, man. This I'm not going to go on record and say this movie saved the DCEU. There's still a long way to go in that regard. But fuck, if this wasn't a home run for DC and Warner Brothers right here. J95 Matt, talk to me. What did you think about Wonder Woman?
Well, I'll sum it up super briefly. I've been telling just about everybody, it's not just good, it's like holy shit good.
That's so fucking true.
Yeah, we can get into the details later, but I was really, really blown away by it from the very beginning. And this was definitely the movie DC needed on like a lot of levels.
I agree. What about you, Chris? Same thing?
I got to tell you, man, like, with all the back and forth that was going on with the Wonder Woman movie and whether we were going to get a Black Widow movie and Captain Marvel, and studios were saying for years that audiences just weren't ready for a female-led superhero movie. And they were right, because this movie... Nah, I'm fucking with you. This movie was... This movie blew my socks off, man. You know, like you said you had no interest. I had an interest, but I was like cautiously optimistic because of previous experiences with DC movies and everything like that. And I was like, if this is like the last few ones they dropped, man, I'm not sure I'm going to dig it. But holy shit, did they knock it out of the park. There was one part, and when we get into the actual like details of the review, that like kind of threw me off a little bit and everything, that I have like one complaint about the movie. I'm sure you saw my Facebook post. We'll get into that part. Other than that, man, this movie just like, you were right. Like you're both right. This DC needed this movie on so many levels, and they need to learn from what happened with this movie. Like my other Facebook post said, DC, everything you did with this movie, do more of that.
100% agree with you on that one. I'm going to start this off and say, I got to the theater. I was excited. I paid for my daughter and her friend as the children. And because I was like, y'all can still pass the 12. And then I realized that this theater, the children age is 11. And I was like, this might not be good. So I was a little nervous because I didn't want to get my card pulled in front of everybody, But I'm quick with it. So when I get to the box office, I start a random conversation with the guy with the tickets, and he doesn't even notice. So that's fine. So then I give my daughter and her friend the adult tickets, and I keep the child ones for me and my wife. Everything's hunky-dory. We go up into the theater, right? Got my reserved seats. Get up into the theater. And it's a 4:20 show in the afternoon. And somebody's got the cannabis oil going. And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Dead ass. Yo, I was like, yo. And I mean, the culprits are right there, sitting in front of us, off to the right. They're right there. And they're looking at me. And I'm like, dude, man, for real, like, I had two young ladies with me, you know what I mean? Like, so, but it was fun because, you know what? It did smell good. I can't lie. Now, this is when I started to get mad. And I really thought I wasn't going to like this movie, not because of the movie itself, but because of my theater experience. The cannabis oil aside, the trailers are going, right? And I'm going to see trailers. And all of a sudden, the thing pops up and says, now put on your 3D glasses. Wait, what? I didn't buy 3D fucking show. I look at my tickets. It doesn't say 3D. What the fuck's going on? And there's the Thor Ragnarok trailer in 3D. And I'm like, son of a bitch. First off, I love this trailer. My favorite trailer of all time. It's in 3D. It's all blurry. Now I got to run downstairs to get the goddamn glasses and run back up before. Because now I'm like, shit, they're going to play Star Wars 2. I got to see that in 3D. I hate 3D. I run down, I tell the guy, I say, yo, this movie's in 3D. And he's like, no, it's not. And I'm like, yeah, it is. So he gave me the glasses. I go back up the stairs, get to my seat, and I'm like, yeah. I said, do not open them yet. I said, because the guy downstairs is promising me it's not 3D. Hold on to this. Don't open the glasses, because if it's not 3D, we'll give it back to him. Then the movie starts and it's in 3D, and then we open our glasses, and I hate 3D. My eyes fuck up. Like, my eyes still bother me. And right off the bat, I'm watching this movie, and you see the action in the beginning, just in the training montage of the beginning with the Amazons, and it's moving so fast. I can't keep up. My eyes, they're like lazy eyes, and I was mad. I was just out of the fucking movie, and then my wife was like, "Yo, you gotta learn to relax your eyes." So I put my finger in the corner, and I started pushing in on my eye. This is all true story. And next thing you know, my eye was relaxed, and it wasn't like nothing. I was like, okay, all right, I can watch this movie. So yeah, I thought I wasn't going to enjoy the movie because of my theater experience. Turns out it wasn't a bad thing, and I loved the fucking movie. So that was just that was kind of like your little Deadpool experience last year, Matt. You telling me you had a terrible theater with Deadpool.
Well, I also had a pretty bad experience with Guardians Volume 2, King Arthur, and Alien Covenant. We started going to different theater, and for like we went there 3 weeks in a row, and all 3 times something shitty happened. Guardians 2, the lights came on 20 minutes before the movie ended. King Arthur, the movie, the lights didn't come down 20 minutes into the movie. Like, they're still on well after the movie started. And Alien Covenant, the screen was just like flickering like the whole time. So it's like glaringly noticeable in that opening scene in the big white room.
Yeah.
With David and Guy Pearce. So I was like, I'm not doing this again, guys. I know this theater is like nicer and stuff, and they got a bigger screen, but like, fuck that, dude. I'm not letting anything else happen to ruin Wonder Woman, because I don't want it to be. I want to like this movie as much as I can, and convince them. We went to the new theater, or our old theater, really, and since we've been there, they've upgraded a ton of shit. So they got the nice reclining chairs now. They got big screens. They got a bar there now, which, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that's not really too common around like central Minnesota. So it was an all around good time. They also have a rewards thing that I'm a part of. So eventually we'll get a free movie. So yeah, and we walked out of there. We all had a fantastic experience with the movie because we all loved the movie, like way more than we thought we would. And we just kind of looked at each other and like, yep, we're sticking with this theater.
I hear that. Chris, nothing bad happened to you on your viewing?
Nah, man, my viewing was cool. You know, I went to Union Square.
Oh.
The only thing like a negative for me because I like to get to the theater ahead of time to get good seats and everything like that. But I get out of work at 6 on Fridays, and the screening that me and my coworkers going to was at 7. So we tried to rush to get there by like 6:30, and there was already kind of like a line there. So like, it was a fight for seats.
Yeah.
And we found some decent seats a little bit towards the front, not too close to the front. And, I like to keep it central, like where you're like in the center of the screen.
Right.
So we got some seats and everything like that. So altogether, it wasn't too bad. Plus, like when we were walking out of the theater, well, I had stepped out first because I had to go to the bathroom, and I came back to the theater to meet my friends. And one of my friends came out and was like, "Yo, fucking Keegan-Michael Key from Key and Peele is in our screening, dude." Like, and 5 minutes later, like he comes walking out. I didn't bother him because it looked like he was there with somebody. He probably just wants to enjoy the movie and everything like that. He probably didn't want to be rushed by a bunch of fans, so I left him alone. But it was cool. I got to see a great movie, and I shared it with Keegan-Michael Key. So apparently,
I would have bothered him.
You would have?
I totally would have. Well, I don't have an opportunity to meet celebrities like you guys, so give me a chance. I got to jump that shit. Plus, Key and Peele are like two of my. I fucking loved that show. So
that's a funny show.
They were both hilarious. So I'd have to bother him just a little bit, politely.
Well, yeah, obviously.
I would have went up to him and said, "Hey, so how'd you like the movie?" As soon as he started, like, "Get out!" No, I couldn't have done that. I was fucked up. But all right, listen. Speaking of the movie, let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right. This movie's fantastic. I honestly can't believe how good this movie was. And I'm not going to sit here and say that's a testament to Patty Jenkins being a woman. No, that's a testament to Patty Jenkins being a great director. This movie was fan-fucking-tastic. I personally really didn't have any gripes with it, but like I had a conversation yesterday with my boy about this, and he had his gripes, and I understand his gripes. I didn't see it the way he saw it. So I want to hear from you guys first off. Let's break it down. This movie opens up. Matt, talk to me, man. What were some of your favorite things about this movie? Like, spoil it. It doesn't matter. Spoiler review.
The cinematography was fantastic. I love the bright colors. It got a little kind of dreary towards the end, but like the stuff in Themyscira was just beautiful to look at. All the actors were amazing. Chris Pine, Gal Gadot, Danny Hudson, just they all killed it. I felt like the story was really engaging. I felt like I really like it connected with me on a level that other say Captain America didn't really connect with me. I just felt like that was it was like an origin movie that didn't feel kind of forced.
Right.
Just kind of happened. The fight scenes were all awesome. The music was great. One thing I really noticed that I was really impressed with is it did a great job of showing the atrocities of war.
Yeah.
It's just how ugly and horrifying it really is, and they got away with some it was quick and it wasn't pushed down your throat, but you see it and it's wow, that's kind of graphic for a PG-13 movie, especially one where there's tons of children in the theater with us, and good for them for showing hey, war is not bad, it's not pretty, it's not to be glorified, and I really like that. I guess the one thing that I kind of felt like it just seemed a little bit forced was the scene where Wonder Woman is talking to the chief, and he mentions all my people are gone, and she's like, who killed your people? And he's like, yeah, his people killed my people, or whatever, and he points to Chris Pine. I just felt like that was a little bit forced, if anything. It kind of maybe trying to push too many different sort of progressive kind of messages down your throat at once. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
I guess like my mindset was kind of like, this is almost sort of like a political kind of movie with just like, women's rights and empowerment of women and stuff like that. So kind of have a political sort of mindset of like stay on message. But that was like, I guess that's super nitpicky. And just like one little thing that kind of took me out of it for a brief second. Also, Samir, the liar dude, I don't remember what his exact title was. He looked exactly like Sammy Davis Jr. That's just me. He looked exactly like him. Also, the comedy in there was fantastic because it didn't feel forced. It just kind of like happened naturally, and it wasn't like didn't take me out of it. It was like, oh, here's joke one, 2, and 3 to alleviate the tension. It was just like kind of natural, really subtle stuff, and like you said, it's just kudos to Patty Jenkins as a director, who's fantastic.
Yeah, I agree with you. The jokes did not feel forced at all. The only jokes we saw in the commercial were not the only jokes in the movie, and those jokes in the movie, especially Chris Pine and Gal Gadot on the raft, was one of the funniest things in the. I mean, like seriously, that was one of the funniest things in movies that I've seen this year. That conversation they had on the raft about sleeping together, that was fucking hysterical. Chris, what about you? What did you like about this movie?
Man, pretty much all of it. I just have to mostly echo what Matt said. Like, just so many great performances in the movie and everything like that. I especially got to give a hand to Chris Pine because, like, I enjoy him in Star Trek movies and everything like that. But so far, in my opinion, I hadn't really seen anything from him where it's like, wow, this is like, I see why he's at where he's at in terms of like leading man quality and everything like that. But this movie really did because he's got a lot of charisma in this movie. Yeah. He really nailed the character of Steve Trevor. Like, showed to me that like he understood what the character was about and everything like that. Kind of a cocky, brash, overconfident person, but also like really a good person at heart and a decent person who just understands the nuances of like a situation like that. I dug the way Gal Gadot played Diana, like, because initially I was kind of off-put by them casting her. Like, I was one of the people that, well, physically she doesn't seem to like, she's a little too thin for me and everything like that. But she really got the character down pat, and I really dug, she really played that fish out of water kind of thing really well. She came into the world with like this very naive kind of black and white perspective of how the world works. And so when she's thrust into all these complicated political things and they're trying to explain to her, like, you can't just do this, you can't just do that, that's not how these things work. And she can't really grasp that concept. She played that really well. Like, going back to the thing Matt was talking about the interaction with the chief, like, I understand what he's saying, but also at the same time, I kind of did appreciate that scene in the sense that it gives like a little bit more complexity. So it's like, here they are, they're friends, they work together, they're compatriots and everything like that. But he's like makes this offhanded compliment about like how like Chris Pine's my people. Is this hint to another hint to Diana? Like, the world is more complicated. Like, your people wiped out all my people, but I'm still working with you.
Well, I mean, the right thing. That kind of makes it a little bit better in my mind. So I mean, yeah, that kind of, I guess, justifies it when you put it like that.
Yeah. So like, I like how they made these little moral arguments throughout the movie and everything like that. Like, he's like, oh, I killed Ares, the war should be over and everything like that. And Chris Pine was like, no, that's not how this fucking, maybe it's not just one bad guy.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that I don't think comic book movies have really had the courage to say up to this point. Like, it's always like there's one bad guy you got to defeat and then everything's done. Like, Star Wars is kind of getting to it a little bit, like with the introduction of 7, like you defeated the Emperor and the Empire, but there's still these other political factions coming out. So it's showing that the whole thing doesn't end with destroying the Emperor. But like, that's one of the things I give respect, like, in most comic book movies, like Spider-Man defeats Green Goblin and his thing with Green Goblin is over, or like Iron Man defeats Warmonger and that whole situation is over, and then it's on to the next villain, and he defeats that next villain, and then that situation is over. What I like what they did was like, it's not that simple. There's not just one bad guy you kill and then all the violence stops. It's like, maybe it is us. Maybe there's an inherency to our nature where we're like, some of us are bad, some of us are good, and we just try to figure out to do the best with what we got.
Yeah.
So I like that moral lesson that they put into the movie. There was one scene that I really dug, and my coworker, kind of phrased to me why I dug it better than I was coming up with at the time, is that scene where she walks out of the trench and goes across no man's land.
Fucking love that scene.
Right? And the reason why it works so well for me, that my coworker explained, is it's like that moment where, as much as I didn't really necessarily enjoy Man of Steel, but it's like that moment when Superman first actually flies in that movie. And there's that hopefulness to it. And there's that, yes, this is the moment where he becomes who he is. And that's what it was for Wonder Woman. This is the moment where Diana Themyscira becomes who we know as Wonder Woman. It's like, this is what I'm here to do. And she just charges across the battlefield and just wipes all of the World War, the German soldiers out, and frees and liberates that town and everything. And it's like, hold back. Wait, she's doing it. Yeah. Charge! And it's like, this is a whole big... And it's such an empowering moment, especially we're going back to the whole thing about it being, a female-led superhero movie. It's such an empowering moment for females too. It's she led the men in that charge. The men were holding back. We can't do it. It's too much. And she was like, nah, fuck that, son. It's like, I'm gonna tear this shit up. So it gives little girls that hope, we're brave. We can be braver than the men sometimes, and we can lead that charge and everything. So I dug that moment. And that was a good turn in the movie for me. I dug the moment where she went to the party to kill Danny Houston's character and everything like that. And then Steve Trevor stopped, you can't just do that. And then the gas, and she goes to the village. She's like, this is your fault. I could have killed him, and this would have been, even if he wasn't Ares, like she thought he was.
Right.
It probably would have killing him would have at least stopped the gassing of the village. So, I could have stopped him. And none of this would have happened, and you prevented me from doing that and everything like that. This is on your hands. And it was a good moment for Steve Trevor's character, because he's like, you're right.
Yeah, he broke up. There you go.
Sometimes there's no caution. Sometimes there's no point in playing cautious. So, there's so many little great scenes like that in the movie that it's just it's more nuanced than what I had seen in previous DC movies. Yeah. So I really dug that about it.
Yeah, that sequence when she goes across the battlefield, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm sitting there and seriously, I don't know what it was. The music was hitting, and I don't like that, but the music was right. And I got a little emotional. I'm sitting there, I'm like, yo, this shit, because of the horror of war. One, yeah. And like you said, they showed that, Matt said, they showed some shit. Whoa, man, that sequence, boy, she goes across that, and I just loved it. They were like, wait a minute, she's drawing their fire. She gave us this chance. Let's go. And they just went. I want to point out real quick too that in my Batman Superman review, way back when with me and Matt, I said, you seen that picture? You seen that photograph? Did you see the Indian? Apache Chief, a nunchuck, bitches. I was right. Y'all were wrong. I don't care. That's right. He's the chief. As soon as she said the chief, I turned, I grabbed my wife. I said, it's Apache Chief. I don't care. And that's how I'm going to stay. I'm going to stick with Apache Chief and Nunchuck. I love that guy. I loved him. The acting, again, Gal Gadot scared the fuck out of me. I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Sold. The little things she did in her portrayal, certain scenes, like when they first get to London, just the inflections in her voice, the tonal shifts she does.
Yes.
Yeah, I loved it. She was, I don't like the word naive, but I agree. It is a naive outlook. She never experienced anything like this before, but they do let you know that she knows about all this shit. She's read these books. She's got the text. So, in that form, it is kind of naive.
He's naive without being dumb.
Right.
She's like naive but still curious and still learning, and it's not like downplaying her intelligence.
Exactly. And that was a very important thing for them to get right, and they did. She portrayed it right. She did. I can't praise Gal Gadot enough because I was not a fan. She was in a very little bit amount of Batman v Superman, and what this movie did, showing the past, makes me understand how her character is now kind of not cold, but solid. You know what I mean? Like, she has this shield up that nothing really is going to penetrate her. She saw Steve Rogers. Spoiler review. She saw Steve Rogers. Steve Trevor. I did it. I can't believe I did it. I said I wasn't going to do it. I wasn't going to call him Steve Rogers. I called him Steve Rogers. My bad, y'all. She saw Trevor.
He sacrificed themselves on the plane. It's an easy mistake to make.
That's true, too. That's absolutely true. But damn, son, this movie had a lot going for it, man. A lot going for it. I got really no complaints. Like, I'm trying to fucking find something to nitpick. I will say this. Holy crap, I did not notice. But Etta Candy is Diane from Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, that's her.
I didn't know. My wife was like, that's the girl from Shaun of the Dead. I'm like, no, it's not. And then I look, and then she does this thing that she actually does in Shaun of the Dead. And I was like, oh my God, it is her. So I loved her too. She was great, fucking hysterical. Her comedic timing was on point. Her and Chris Pine together, do another prequel. Just them two in the office together. You know what I'm saying? Like Office Space 2. It's like World War I. I thought she was great. I saw the Lupin switch coming a mile away. And I mean Lupin from Harry Potter, because I forget the actor's name.
David Thewlis.
David Thewlis, thank you. I saw that coming a mile away. I wasn't mad at it at all. It wasn't like Alien Covenant, but
I knew that was coming because it had leaked online.
Okay. I went Matt route. I stopped when I saw that IGN clip that got me really hyped for the movie. I was like, I'm done. I don't need to see nothing.
No, but this leaked online like a while ago. Like when he was cast, they said he was going to be Ares.
Okay. I'm glad I missed that. I mean, I wasn't mad that that I saw it coming, but
there was like one key scene that I feel like gave it away, like halfway into the movie when they were still, like just after they retook the town and they were on the phone with where Chris Pine was on the phone with them, and he mentioned something about like, oh, no, don't do that, like let's wait for the peace treaty thing to go through the armistice, and I was like, okay, yeah, that's probably him.
Yeah.
Like, Ludendorff being Ares was just too easy.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ludendorff, let's talk about what they call her, Miss Poison? Dr. Poison?
Or Dr. Poison.
Yo, I forgot all about. I actually remember a comic book that I have that she was in, and it was a one-issue thing. It was no more than one issue, but I was like, holy crap, I do remember her, and it was crazy. So I loved her. It's great when you can do something like this and not try to shoehorn Wonder Woman's greatest foe, the Cheetah, or something like that. And to be perfectly honest with you, I mean, the DCEU is set up to have these fantastical villains. So, eventually I guess we'll see the Cheetah. But I don't think now it's necessary to even see the Cheetah. Unless Patty Jenkins has a plan that, I trust in her. So it's all good. But I just can't even see the Cheetah be any type of a threat to Wonder Woman now, but again, I could be wrong, and I'm just blowing the load right early. But Ares was good. This is one of the things my boy had a problem with. He didn't like that the fight was, in his terms, uneventful. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, I could see your point, but I enjoyed the shit out of that fight because it really wasn't about them fighting. It was about the struggle. That's what I was taking from it, especially when he started luring her and baiting her and saying, yo, look at them, join me, fuck it, you know what I mean? Like, kill this woman, the gas is her fault. And he throws her from the car right in front of Wonder Woman's foot, and Wonder Woman's holding the tank. Iconic fucking shot right there. Good Lord, that is beautiful. And that's what I got from it. I was so invested in Diana's journey and where she was in that moment that the fight, it didn't bother me. That some people might have felt it was a little underwhelming. I was okay with it. So that was one of the things. And the other nitpick, which I guess the 3D thing kind of, like I said, I hate 3D. The special effects, like Wonder Woman jumping around and stuff. I heard a couple of people say, "Oh, it reminded me of Blade 2." What? I love Blade 2. Come on, man. The technology wasn't there then the way it is here now. Get out of here. But yeah, that's just some of the nitpicks I heard. What about you, Chris? You said you had a nitpick. I want to know what it was.
Yeah. I mean, like, there were a couple things that were just minor nitpicks, but I'll get to the issue that I have with the fight, because I agree with your friend on the fight thing. So, like, one of the first nitpicks that I had is I could have done without that opening sequence of them showing the people from Wayne Enterprises giving her the picture. They could have just opened right from the training, her as a kid or whatever like that, and it would have been fine. But again, that's a minor thing. Like, it's not, it didn't take me out of the movie or anything like that. It's just like they could have trimmed that down a little bit.
Right.
The other thing is some of the stuff was kind of predictive, like you said. The whole Ares thing. Even if I hadn't read about the thing, that I probably would have figured was Ares about halfway through the movie. The other thing that was really predictive is them kept calling the sword God Killer, and then finding out that Diana was God Killer all along.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I knew right from the beginning that she was the secret weapon that Zeus left to defeat Ares. That it was never the sword. But getting to the fight, like, it did feel kind of underwhelming, because all the stuff you said about it being about the back and forth of him trying to convince her to join his side and everything like that, I agree with that. And there was that nuance to it, and it fit perfectly with all the other nuances that they had the rest of the movie. But then it turns into like this Zack Snyder-y, video gamey, boss battle kind of thing that just, random like CG effects just clashing at each other and everything. And it just kind of took away what was going on with the conversation he was having with her. Instead of becoming like this kind of philosophical debate and this nuanced debate about how Ares is like, I'm right. This is not me. These people are just like this. And that's all I was trying to all along. Oh, now I'm going to kill you and destroy the world. And he just became like another generic villain at that point to me. So it just kind of felt like they got scared and pulled away from the nuance of it and decided to do this straight up as like a boss battle action sequence. Mm. Because they were worried that the fans were going to want like that clash and fight and things being blown up and everything like that. And I felt like I could have respected it more if they just stuck to their guns and made it about that subtle nuance to it. And like him and her, and then she would have the moment like, no, like it's about love. People can be bad, but they can also be good. And that's why I'll never join you and everything.
That's so funny that...
Like, I felt it would have been better if it played more like the Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader confrontation in Empire. Like, I'll never join you because I have so much going for me. As opposed to just being like, Darth Vader whipping Luke Skywalker around with the Force and everything like that. And just,
Yeah. That's funny how you said it became bombastic, and my other friend was like, it wasn't bombastic enough. That's so funny. I love the different sides to that fight. And again, it was all opinion based. This is cool. I disagree with the opening. I think the bookends for the movie were perfect. And I guess that's the comic book geek in me, because it shows Diana is the curator of what's that museum in France? That's the Louvre, right? That she is the curator for that. And in the comics, that's what she does. And I kind of like that little, I found the original picture here. Maybe someday you'll tell me the story. And then, we get the story. I don't know, that felt like a throwback to the 80s almost, because there's like a couple of movies from my childhood that I can't think of right now because I'm stupid. That I felt like I love these bookend type things. It opens up with someone telling a story. You see the story through a flashback, and then it ends with them having, like Forrest Gump, for instance, is one of those types of movies where the feather comes down and then the feather goes away. Yeah. I like that. But no, I totally see what you're saying. outside of that, man, yeah. It's just funny, the fight thing, how and I don't necessarily agree with it being too bombastic. Like I said, though, but me personally, I really wasn't invested into the fight like that. But what you said, the philosophical nature, if that would have continued, I think it would have been even better. I agree. I think it would have been even better, but I had no issue with that. Matt, what about you? Any issues?
One that I've seen a lot is like they're criticizing the Zack Snyder-esque use of slow-mo.
Oh,
and I only noticed the slow-mo like twice in the whole movie. Whereas opposed to BVS, I was like, all right, let's get on with it.
right.
The slow-mo was done so well, I thought that it wasn't even noticeable to me. It just made the action sequences a little bit more stylized, which I'm fine with. I don't want to notice the slow-mo. I just want to notice like the action sequence being a little bit different than the average movie, I guess, which is, I think, the point.
Yeah.
I agree with both Chris and your friend about the bombasticness of the final scene. It was really bombastic, and it did get a little Zack Snyder-y, but it wasn't memorable to me. Like, it didn't stand out as anything different or anything special. Like, the other fight scenes really, really stood out to me, and that one just kind of faded. But that struggle, like you mentioned, was the thing that stood out to me. That's what I took away from it, more than it being about the big action set piece of the movie. So yeah, it's I agree with all of you on that. I'm like firmly in the middle. Yeah, it could have been a little bit more special, but I did take away the message of the struggle. And like I consider Ares to be Wonder Woman's like greatest arch enemy. So I feel like that probably should have been a little bit more
significant.
Pronounced. What's that?
Like more significant.
Yes, perfect. But I'll take it. The rest of the movie was like kept me really, really invested, especially all the stuff on Themyscira really, really got me too. Like the training sequence or when the Germans stormed the beach and that fight scene was fucking incredible. Just them kicking all that German ass. It was insane. Like them doing the backwards thing on the horses, like laying down and like going backwards and shooting the arrows. And
the one part where Robin Wright jumps over the rock and has like the 3 arrows and pulls back.
Shield.
Oh my God.
Shield. Oh man, I love that. And that right there was a great use of the slow-mo.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I remember turning to my coworker in that scene like, these Germans obviously don't know who the fuck's beach they just stepped over.
I also really liked how they didn't show the Wonder Woman like suit up until she like took off her robe, put on the tiara, and like stepped out into no man's land.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like they were hiding it. It was just like, all right, you're not ready for it. Diana's not ready for it. The audience isn't ready for it. But as soon as she steps up and like, all right, this is what I got to do. I got to save these people. We're all ready for it. Does that make sense? Like, okay, you've earned
exactly.
it. I mean,
like I said, it's like my friend said in that Man of Steel moment, like when they finally do the suit reveal and he flies for the first time. It's like that's the first point of the movie we're really looking at him like that's Superman. So it's the same thing here. The first point of the movie, like you're really like this is Wonder Woman now.
Yeah,
I thought that was fantastic too. Like they weren't like shying away from showing it off. It was just like, yeah, like we're not ready to see it yet. We're not worthy of seeing the suit. As opposed to other superhero movies, I think it would be like a constant, like almost cock tease sort of thing, where they're like, "Oh, you almost got to see it, saw it. Aren't you excited yet? Aren't you excited?" And I thought that was just done really, really well.
No, I hear you. I can't really gush enough. I will say this. I thought of it. There's one thing that I was kind of like, what? And that was after she killed Ares. Everybody put their arms down and started hugging. I was kind of thrown off by that. I said, wait, what's going on? I mean, did he have them all under his thrall? You know what I mean? I mean, he's the god of war, but again, human nature. And does that mean Ares is not really dead? You really can't kill a god regardless if you're called the god slayer, because there've been multiple wars, you know? It just happens. So that one is, I was just kind of like, okay, whatever, I guess.
That just made me think too. Like, I made a joke to my friend and coworker who was there with me. Like, I just think it would have been awesome if like that when they're having the big parade, and like, you know, she goes to the wall and sees Trevor's picture and everything, then having the big victory parade and everything. All the wars finally over, and everybody's thinking, oh, Ares is dead, no more wars. Like, influence over man, and he's like, smash cut to Hitler. It never stops.
It never stops. That would be fucking good. Oh shit. Oh man. I will say that
for a young Hitler, like 9.
I will say this, man. Themyscira was some of the most gorgeous visuals and just pure ass kicking, and these actresses is fucking. I loved every single Amazon they showed. Loved them. They all felt like they belonged there. They all felt like they had a purpose there. And it was like, it wasn't just like background noise, you know? Even if they had a line or not, they all just brought this presence that I feel the Amazons would have. And this is what, going forward, this is what scares me. Because in that trailer for Justice League, we see the Amazons going against the hordes of Apocalypse. There's no mention of that shit like that ever happened years before, nothing. So I hope that is an actual thing. We're going to get a Battle of Helm's Deep type of fucking fight with parademons and Amazons in Justice League. And that's one of the biggest things I was hoping for this movie. When I saw that bit in the trailer, that was the coup de grace from the trailer. I was like, that's it. Please make me that and give it to me. 10, 15 minutes of nonstop violent action. And then I see the Amazons in Wonder Woman, and I'm like, oh my God. The action, the way these warrior women go at war, and fight. I'm nervous now. Is Snyder able to show that off? Is he able to convey that same style? I mean, of course, he's seen the movie, and that's already been shot. This is not like Snyder, didn't shoot that, and Whedon's going to do that now. I'm just hoping for some consistency. Yes, it's, 100 years later or so. I want there to be some kind of consistency with the Amazons, because they blew my mind. They were done so fucking well in this movie. They were portrayed perfectly. They were shown, just everything was right. Everything was right. And yeah, I don't know. I rambled. I'm sorry. Please don't be a failure, Justice League. Please. You're 1 for 1 this year. Please.
One thing that I really walked away from in this movie was like, damn, Justice League has some really big shoes to fill now.
Yeah.
It's always in pretty much every DC
movie comes out.
True, but like this has been, I don't know, like with every DC movie that's of the DCEU, it's like, let's give them another shot. Let's maybe they'll do better next time. And it's like after Wonder Woman, it's like, okay, now you have to do better. This has to be on par with Wonder Woman, or like you got nothing really, because like, goddamn, I think Wonder Woman is probably my favorite movie of the year so far.
I can't even argue that point.
It left me more like stunned and awestruck than pretty much any other movie. Like, we knew that Guardians 2 was going to be great. We knew that Logan was going to be great.
Yep.
We hoped Alien Covenant would be great. But it's like, all of us had our doubts about Wonder Woman. Our buddy Alex, G62, he pretty much, said, like, if Wonder Woman, I don't think Wonder Woman's going to be good. And I don't know if he liked it or not, but I hope he did. But, all of us had our expectations really low. Ray, you weren't even, like, excited for the movie at all up until the last couple weeks.
Yep.
And, like, the best movies are always ones that you're surprised by.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we knew Logan was going to be great. We knew it was going to be violent and kick a lot of ass, and there was going to be like, oh yeah, Professor X is swearing, cool.
I still hate that, but
but this is like it might be good, and it was fantastic. It was amazing. That's what really makes it special to me.
Come on, just say it. Somebody's got to say it. It was wonderful. Somebody had to do it, right? At least I'm not segueing into anything. This is one fucking podcast.
The other thing that I really dig about it too, like from the socio-political aspect of it and everything like that, because going back to the whole it being a female-led superhero movie, is because we're talking about how like this is the movie to beat as far as DC goes. Like it set the tone for you. For this to be a female-led superhero movie, the first like really successful one, because Supergirl in the 80s.
In the 80s, yep.
At the box office.
Catwoman. Elektra
tagged at the bottom. So up until now, every single superhero movie that focused on a female-led character hasn't done well. This movie set the benchmark for the DCEU as it exists right now.
Yeah, agree 100%.
The same way that Iron Man set it for the MCU and everything like that. This is the movie that sets the bar for where DC has to be in order for the fans to really be on board with the universe. Because Man of Steel was middle of the road for most fans. Suicide Squad was garbage. Batman versus Superman, again, it's middle of the road, but more leaning towards people didn't like it. So up until now, the DC movies, as far as critical appeal, have not been successful.
Yeah.
So this is a female-led superhero movie that's not only financially successful, but critically successful. Like it's matched Iron Man and The Dark Knight as far as its aggregated reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. It's sitting at like 97%.
Real quick, what's do you know the box office take so far? Do you know what's projected for the weekend or where it stands?
Okay, so this is a month ago, they were projecting it to open at 70 million.
Okay.
Last night, they were projecting it 97.1.
Oh.
As of today, the figures are showing 100 million.
Fucking success.
It beat its projection by $3 million. And again, this is projected. 100 million is projected on what they're expecting to do today. It could do more because it's already doing more than what they expected, from yesterday. Right. So this could, maybe like 102, 103, maybe even 110. We don't know.
Listen,
we won't know until the final box office is counted at the end of the night.
Right, I tell you right now, man. Just Wonder Woman making $100 million opening weekend is a fucking godsend, man, and it deserves it. It deserves it, and I'm telling you, man. Warner Brothers deserved that one. They needed that one. I'm really, really happy for this movie, man. Like, and I can't because if I was to get in a time machine, what? What was that, brother?
Well, this is, I said, for a movie with a female lead and being the most financially successful movie directed by a female director, this is literally Hollywood. This is a historical. People don't realize that. We're not realizing it right now because we're in the moment of it.
Right.
But this is a history-setting movie in terms of Hollywood. People are going to look back at this 100 years from now when they're studying the history of Hollywood. Like, this is a movie that changed the game for Hollywood.
I really hope it is viewed as that. Them old Hollywood fogarties right now, like, this is a travesty. Like, get with the fucking program.
This is a fluke. This is a total fluke.
Yeah. Get out of here. I love the fact that critics and moviegoers alike are coming in together and standing behind this movie. Not because of that, though, but because it is just an outstanding movie. I love that, man. This is, I'm telling you, I wish I could get into a time machine and go back in time 2-3 months and say, listen, you have no fucking clue. Stop saying what you're saying and just let it rock. Because you got no fucking clue. And then I would go smack myself, create a fucking paradox, and then
you don't realize in 15 months you're gonna sound like an asshole.
That's it. I create the paradox. Next thing you know, it's Crisis on Infinite Earths, and you know, and your buddy G1 single-handedly saved the GCEU by creating the paradox that everybody had to go fight again. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, that's what this country needs. A visionary like myself. Just don't put it in 3D.
Can we just talk about, like, remember that article that came out like 6 months ago that was like, oh, an insider said that Wonder Woman is in trouble. That, like, there's all this chaos behind the scenes, and you were fucking buying into it.
I was.
You were buying into it hard. Alex was, like, terrified of, like, what that meant. And
Insider.
Where's this insider now? Where's this insider?
Where's your Messiah now?
Well, listen, you know, he's got a friend, and then he has friends in other countries, and he has friends on the internet, and he has wonderful, wonderful, many, many friends. He loves friends because he has a lot of friends. That insider, of course, was Donald Trump. Nobody see that shit? He dropped his own. He said, "No, man, you know what? I'm gonna go under my alias." Yeah, he did that a bunch of times. You know what I'm saying? Back way before candidate Trump. Back when he was just businessman Trump, very successful business mogul Donald Trump. He used to do that shit all the times. But wait, come on, Chris, you live in New York, you know that shit. He be dropping the fake news just to give himself some fucking ego trip.
I know a lot of people in this industry. They tell me things. I hear the things.
So yeah, it was Donald Trump who dropped that news, man. He dropped it, and you know. But the good news is he's probably loving this movie just as much as we are. And massive props to Mr. President, bro. I love it. Why'd I make this shit political? This is all your fault, man. Oh, man. But, you know, all Kofifi aside, brother, this is a very, very great movie. And like Chris said, it's a very important movie for the industry as a whole going forward. Marvel is... They've got their plan. I do not see Marvel trying to, okay, this did it. Let's rush a Black Widow movie right now. I love what Marvel's doing. They're set. They've got their plan. They keep going forward. And they're still winning, regardless. And I don't want to make it a Marvel DC thing, but they are still winning. They're ahead of the game by a lot. Wonder Woman is the fucking step in the right direction. It's halftime now. Now we have to play. You know what I'm saying? Now DC needs to come out and play. And Justice League needs to be that hit. And then I don't know what comes out next. Let me ask you guys this. Do you think, because of the success of this movie so far, do you think after Justice League, because it seems Warner Brothers doesn't have their movies together, they're still in limbo, they'll just cherry pick and say, look, we'll put this here, we'll put this here. Do you think after Justice League, they'll try to fast track Wonder Woman 2?
They're probably going to try to fast track Wonder Woman 2, but the next one is Aquaman, as that is
also that's filming. Right. Fuck. You know what? Aquaman is the movie we need right now. That's the one. I'm an Aquaman mark. I love Aquaman. I don't care. And Jason Momoa, I love you too, brother. So I'm like, oh, right, Aquaman. Dude, I forgot. Ugh.
And this is like a thing that I want to, because you talked about like the whole like, you know, DC Marvel thing and everything like that. And I don't want to turn this into a DC, like you said, I don't want to turn this into a DC Marvel thing. But this is the first time, this movie is the first time, because I've said for years, as the DC universe was moving forward, I've been accused of being a DC hater because of how I take the movies to task and everything like that. And I'm always talking about how much I love the Marvel movies and how great what they're doing is. And I'm always taking DC to task and tearing it down and everything like that. And I've consistently said that like the reason why I take the DC movies to task is because I'm a DC fan. And I want them to be able to make the movies that I see, like what Marvel is doing. I want them to do justice to the characters. And this is the first movie that's come out where I'm actually legitimately hopeful that they may have actually started to hit onto something. And if they're able to keep doing what Patty Jenkins did with this movie, I am hopeful what's going to happen with the DC universe. Yep. It's like finally. The thing that I love most about it, I'm not sure if you guys caught this, maybe a friend, because this was the first time that, I haven't seen a DC movie in theaters for a while. But the whole intro thing, like, you know how Marvel does the thing where they show the comic book pages flipping?
Yes.
And so the DC did a similar thing with this movie where they showed it, and it looked exactly like the Justice League Unlimited cartoon.
Yes, it fucking did, son. I totally got a put on that one. It was like, oh.
Like, the parallel that it draws there, because for me, Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, the animated series, was the benchmark for the DC animated universe and everything, and set the tone for what I want DC stuff to be. So for them to tie that parallel to this movie and this movie doing what it did, and that's why I'm more hopeful, because it seems like it's almost like this kind of hint where like they're saying, this is where we're going. We're going to try and make this more like the animated Justice League series. And I'm like, yes, if they do that, fucking yes. I'm excited for the DC universe now.
Totally agree. Matt, final words.
Well, obviously, I really agree with what Chris said about this being like this movie is making history, and hopefully Hollywood follows suit with like, okay, yeah, women are bad, like women are fucking badasses too. Let's put more, focus on that. And I mean, that is kind of coming to light in the last couple of years. We had Fury Road,
Yep.
Furiosa kicking all the ass.
Yep.
I don't know about you guys, but my theater showed the Atomic Blonde trailer.
Yes, I got that too. Surprisingly.
And that movie looks like it's I was hesitant before, but I think I'm kind of sold on that movie now.
Oh yeah.
And let's not forget that in pretty much all of the other DC EU movies so far, they've had a really strong female character that also kicks ass. Man of Steel had the Kryptonian chick whose name I totally forgot.
I call her not Ursa. Ursa from Superman 2, ladies and gentlemen. Y'all remember that shit.
Yeah. We got Wonder Woman, obviously, Harley Quinn and Enchantress, and basically, Katana, even though she didn't do anything in Suicide Squad, she was still, pretty badass. And it's shaping up to, Aquaman having a pretty, Nicole Kidman and Amber Heard, in very presumably action-y kind of roles, hopefully. So that wouldn't it be cool for DC to, kind of lead the charge in, pushing women into the forefront of, what they can do, pushing boundaries in that way. That would be, Marvel is doing, what they're doing with cinematic universes and, paves the road for how great superhero movies could be. But, DC taking this direction, if that's what they're doing, would be so cool, because it's not as in your face. It's kind of like more of a subtle thing they're just doing, and hopefully Joss Whedon gets his Batgirl movie off the ground, and we get the Gotham City Sirens and stuff like that, and wouldn't that be fucking badass if DC was leading the charge with women kind of taking the forefront and just kicking everybody's ass in the DC roster.
Yep. Can't say nothing after that. Chris, final words.
Go see this movie a lot, many times. It's worth it. I loved it. I'm gonna see it again probably within a week or so. I'm gonna go check it out in the Dolby Cinema because I love that theater so much.
Nice.
100% agree with what Matt was saying about them, showing more female-led stuff and everything like that. I'm loving how, it's not just with DC, but with comic book movies in general, how they're kind of pushing the forefront of progressiveness in terms of more representation of what you would consider minority roles. DC with the females now. Black Panther going to be so lit in the Marvel universe.
Oh yeah.
They're setting the tone in the culture, because a lot of other movies aren't doing that, and they're not really showing these roles and everything like that and pushing them to the forefront and everything like that. So I'm glad that it's the geek culture that's kind of standing on the forefront of that. Look how awesome this black superhero can be. Look how awesome this female superhero can be. I hope they start doing more stuff we start pushing more other kind of minority characters and everything like that, getting that cultural representation. So I'm really digging that. That even with the complaints that I had and the nitpicks that I had and everything like that, this movie was just amazing. It was, I can make the wonderful pun all day, but it goes beyond that. It was amazing to me. and it's a benchmark set. It sets a new bar for superhero movies. I can't say enough about how much I love this movie. Definitely go see it.
Agree with both of you guys.
If you were on the fence, or if you didn't think that you wanted to see it, fucking see it anyway.
Yeah.
I promise.
Take a look at 3 months ago G1. Oh boy, that dirty, rotten scoundrel. I agree with both of you guys. This movie is fantastic. It's a must-see in a theater. I'm not even kidding. Take your family out. Go to the theater. Support this movie because it's really just a really good movie. I'm not going to get into the political aspect behind it. It is a good, great, amazing film. It works on so many levels. And yes, this year you got some pretty big bangers. This one was the first one, female-led. At the end of the year, we got one more coming up. My girl Ray. We share names. I love you. So that'll do it for us here at the G Show Podcast. This has been the Geek Out episode 10, our Wonder Woman review. Really wasn't that spoilery. We just bullshitted. There's a couple of spoilers, but the movie's fucking fantastic regardless. And we out of here. Peace.